When I started this channel, I was still working as a nurse, 40 hours a week. Our kids were in daycare, weekends were for catching up on laundry and each other. Ben and I were a well-oiled machine. My alarm went off at 5:30, coffee was started before my eyes were fully open, but by 6 a.m., we'd already finished our first cup and I'd be in the middle of a workout every single day. Showers, backpacks, brushing tiny teeth, shoes on the wrong feet. Somehow, by 7:30, everyone was buckled in. And just as I'd slide into the driver's seat, I'd roll down the window and in would pop Ben's hand with a piece of toast for my breakfast. We were efficient, productive, and very disciplined. Then we'd all scatter, work, school, daycare. 9 hours later, we would meet back at home for a quick dinner, baths, bedtime, collapsing. Honestly, we barely saw our kids. We were exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, and that routine went on for 5 years, until COVID. What could have been the worst season of our lives turned out to be an interruption we didn't know we needed. COVID forced our family to break up with hustle culture. No more rigid schedules, no more daycare, no more drive-through dinners, no more rushing through our own lives. Ben and I started asking different questions. What if we chose time over income? What if we chose presence over productivity? What if we raised our kids different? 6 months later, we moved our 4 kids and 2 dogs into a 600 square foot hunting cabin. No running water, no plumbing, no stove, just 4 walls and a loft. Cabin life has taught us a lot. If you want to shower before church, you better wake up early. If you hear chickens screaming, grab a gun and run. But it's also taught us deeper things. That being a traditional homemaker is not less than, it's meaningful. That one income can be enough with the right priorities. That kids can thrive outside of the traditional school system. That you can grow, raise, and harvest your own food. We've learned that we love animals, we love the land, we love filling a freezer we raised ourselves. We love planting a garden and watching it feed us all year long. Taking control of our food has changed our health, our finances, and our peace of mind. Fast food for us now, it's opening a jar of something we grew, harvested, and canned in our own kitchen. And somehow, life feels fuller than it ever did when we were running at full speed.
So the entire purpose of why I made a new apron, I really don't care about aprons that much. I know the channel is named X's and Aprons and I do wear my apron. I've had the same apron for about 5 years and I like it. That one is fine. The only reason I wanted a new apron was because I wanted something that cinched on my waist for the wood stove, because when I bend to load wood or do anything in the oven, the apron I had doesn't like tie in the back. It would just fall forward like into the fire, into what I was doing. And so I needed something that I could just cinch to my waist and be really tight on me so that I could bend over, I could load firewood, and it would never go into the wood stove. I'm really not like a sewer. I'm not a seamstress. I do not sew things very often. So I pretty much have to reteach myself every time I'm using a sewing machine how to use the machine.
We've built a life that looks different. Different from what we were taught, different from what most people expect. A life where we don't rely on the system to survive. A life where if we had to, we could stand completely on our own. And we're building it slowly, on our timeline, not society's. We're not fully there yet. Ben is not home full-time, not yet. But that is the direction. This isn't just about leaving hustle culture, it's about rewriting the rules entirely. Stepping away from the pressure, from the noise, from the idea that success has to look one specific way. We don't just want freedom, we want independence. From expectations, from social norms, from a life we didn't consciously choose. We're building a life we're proud of, one decision at a time, and we're not going back.
So behind me are our new Jacob sheep. They arrived about a week ago. They're still in quarantine and they'll stay here for about another 2 weeks before we let them join up with the Katahdins. They're doing really well. They are settling in. The first day we got them was absolute chaos, I will say. They were extremely squirrely. It was a very rainy and muddy day and we had sheep everywhere, I'm going to be honest. We had sheep all over the place because I will take the blame for it. Ben had an idea that we should move the Katahdins to a separate pasture while we bring these guys in. And I was like, why move everybody around? They're just going to follow Grain a Bucket like the Katahdins did and go into their pasture and that's going to be fine. Nope. The second that they saw the Katahdins, the Jacob sheep joined up with them, and it was so hard to get everybody separated again, because we want to do this quarantine, right? And it was just really difficult. There was sheep everywhere. Sheep were out of the fence, sheep were going down the woods, sheep were in the path, sheep were left and right, they were everywhere, and it was just chaos. They were so squirrely. They reminded me a lot of goats, and since then though, everything has been fine. They have respected the fence. They've all been stung because of that day. So now that they all know what the fence is, they respect it, and no one has gotten out again. It was crazy. So no one has gotten out. Everybody has stayed put and has relaxed. Everybody is quite docile now, even the ram. They're only yearlings, so they're very young. I expect the ram to be more ramish as he gets older, but for now he's actually quite timid. But they're actually very beautiful. The first day we got them, like I said, it was extremely muddy, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't know that I like how they look. Like they're just so muddy. I think you couldn't really see their wool very well. And now that they're cleaned up and, they've been here for a bit, I'm very used to seeing them. And now I kind of think that their faces are ugly cute with their horns just being all crazy and not grown in yet. And yesterday we had probably what will be our last snowfall, like our big last snowfall of the year. And the snow, adorning their wool was so beautiful. I actually was just like, I couldn't stop looking at how beautiful they were. So I'm really happy that we ended up getting the Jacob sheep. And I think they're going to be a really awesome asset to our homestead. I cannot wait to tan hides in the future. And I think it'd be really cool to spin their wool, as well as their horns are just so beautiful, so magnificent, and even the ones that aren't coming in yet are just like ugly cute. So I'm just extremely happy with the Jacob sheep. They're very easy keepers so far that we have noticed, and everything that we've read about them, that they're very pretty much like an easy keeper breed, except for their hooves grow tremendously fast. So we do have to keep on top of that, and of course shearing their wool, but that's kind of like why we wanted this breed. So to me that doesn't make them a hard keep. That's just the benefit of the breed.
Let's be honest, at this point, we are completely invested and are responsible for over 40 animals that I will not let down. So giving up is never going to be an option. Also, I just don't really give up on things in life. Neither does Ben. That is a quality we share, which has given us a lot of success. But I will say that sometimes choosing this life does mean saying no. No to nights out, no to big vacations, no to promotions that look impressive on paper, but in return, we get to say yes. Yes to slow mornings. Yes to nature right outside the door. Yes to home-cooked meals and unhurried evenings. Yes to living simply and living on our own terms. And that kind of yes, it changes everything.